This week on UND Insider Weekly, men's hockey caps off their sweep against Miami with an offensive explosion. Women's hockey finishes their final home games of the season. Women's basketball takes 2 tough losses but still has a half-game lead on top the Big Sky. And after games against Montana State and Montana, men's basketball leaves the weekend tied for 3rd in the Big Sky. Coach Brian Jones will be in the coach's corner to talk about his team's performance and finishing up the rest of the season. And our very own Paul Ralston learns more about the ball screen in this week's Pro Tips. Plus, we'll check out how the athletes representing UND are doing in the Olympics. That's all this week on UND Insider Weekly. It's the final stop on its North Dakota leg of its tour around the NCHC. The Penrose Cup, the conference trophies of the NCHC, gracing the front of the Insider Weekly desk. Welcome to UND Insider Weekly alongside Tom Miller and Brad Schlossman from the Grand Forks Herald, Paul Ralston from UND Athletics. I'm Tim Hennessy. Gentlemen, let's talk about the weekend. Let's get it going. First of all, any comments on the Penrose Cup?
It's shiny.
Wow. It is large.
Wow,
I think
this is very shiny.
people trying to pick that up we could see some adventures because it's you know, when you see it in the picture, it's not that big.
Skating around the rink with that would be a little something else, huh?
Yeah,
how about this weekend, guys? North Dakota took care of Miami, and boy, who knows what's happened to the Red Hawks. But it was a pretty good performance both nights in North Dakota. Maybe just getting back in stride on Friday night, did you think, Brad? And then hitting on all cylinders on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, everything seemed to go in the net. You know, they even had 2 goals that were disallowed and maybe could have been goals. You know, they were borderline, you know. So it could have been even uglier than that. But, you know, UND played real well, scored a lot of goals, got some power play goals, just, you know, didn't do a lot of things wrong. And Zane Gothberg looked pretty good coming back.
I think that's the one thing that not a lot of people were talking about, that he returned to the lineup and looked like he hadn't been out, huh?
Yeah, he was moving pretty well. I remember one save he made, there's a shot in front of the net. There's a rebound, and the guy passed it back door to a guy, and it looked like that was going to be a goal, and he moved over left to right and didn't even give the guy anything to shoot at, and that's pretty good movement, you know, for a guy who's been out.
How about Paul Adu being a +6? That's
a career for some.
I was going to say, that is a pretty special.
Do you remember anyone?
I can't remember, no.
Not one game?
I would say maybe a 4.
Yeah.
You know, but I have 6. That's almost ridiculous. Of course, it's been a long time since North Dakota scored goals in bunches like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Miami's Taylor Rickard, he was a -7 at one point.
At one point.
And it was his birthday on Saturday.
Oh boy.
Birthday.
Yeah.
Tom, talk about, does it mean a lot, do you think, for this team that 5 of those goals came from defensemen?
Yeah, I think, you know, this whole defensive core now has really come along and chipping in offensively, because that was kind of what's been missing this year a little bit as they adjust to a period of time without Corbin Knight and Danny Christo, and they were looking for scoring, and we knew coming into this year that some of that was going to have to come from the back end, and a good game to get some confidence for some guys when you win 9-2. Nick Matson with 2, you know, so guys defensively chipping in is big for that team.
Hockey team is at Minnesota Duluth this weekend. Women's hockey, Minnesota State came in and swept North Dakota over the weekend. I guess I don't know if shocked would be the word, but certainly surprised. Maybe get 1 out of here, but to get 2 was crazy, huh?
And both nights they outshoot them by 20-plus shots, and they can't win either of them. So as much as we're all enjoying watching the Olympics, I think they're ready for them to be over and get their full roster back here, because those losses are going to hurt them big time in the pairwise they already have.
Are they going to fall far enough where
yes,
they can't recoup?
There are some scenarios where they could bump back up, but now I don't think it's in their control. They need other things to happen too for them to come back into the top 7 or 8.
And I guess my question is, you know, when you get these players back, just when will they be ready? Because I know just from traveling with the men's basketball team to California or to Portland and Eastern Washington, you don't just get right back into your routine right away when you're staying up at a certain hour and you come back to North Dakota. It's just not the same. And so they're coming back from Russia, and it's going to be an adjustment no matter when they get back into the lineup.
Well, I think if you get Michelle Carvinen at 50%, she's still better than almost anyone in the league, so I think they'll take it.
Doesn't it beg the question a little bit that without those European players, Why aren't we doing a better job with the North American players?
Well, I think that would help them out in these situations for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of their players right now are younger players too. That's one factor in it. They didn't have a senior in their lineup Friday night, so some of those players I think will grow. Like a Megan Defoe, we're starting to see her emerge, and Becca Kohler I think can be dominant next year. But
so they're a young team without the Europeans.
They're a young team with them. Then you take them away, they're even younger.
Next up, let's talk about some basketball. And the UND women's basketball team went out west and, well, did the Montana swing anyway and came back with nothing. It's funny to hear what was going on Saturday night, though. Everybody seemed to enjoy the game because of the atmosphere there, but only to a certain extent.
I watched some of that game out in Missoula there and went down to the wire, and they didn't get a lot of help from 50-50 calls, let's put it that way, from the officiating. And I think they still have some youth in there. Part of the reason they have been strong is because they have better guard play than last year, but they're still a freshman and a transfer in their first year Division I. So there's some growing pains in some close games, and Montana did a great job keeping the rebounding margin close, because that's how this UND women's basketball team wins.
Montana State, the loss there on Thursday night, that's an interesting one. They've lost twice to the Bobcats this year, and the Bobcats were really on a real slide coming into that one. And for whatever reason, it's a tough matchup for North Dakota in that game against the Bobcats. You look at the Montana game, it could have gone either way, really. And the only one surprising stat that came out of that game to me was I think Montana won the rebounding battle, and North Dakota does not lose rebounding battles this year very often, and so that's an interesting stat.
And that's exactly what we're saying, is that UND has to win that rebounding margin, because they do turn the ball over a little bit because of how aggressive they are. So they have to win that rebounding matchup to win games, and they're interesting games this weekend here: Northern Arizona, Sacramento State. Those will be fun to watch. The
Sacramento State, totally opposite from the men's team, because they just come in and throw bombs up, don't they?
It's the Grinnell style, they call it.
Yeah.
10 seconds of the shot clock, you want to get something up and get in our up and down game.
Isn't the term, fellas, racehorse hockey, where they're
fire wagon,
fire wagon hockey or something like that, up and down? Sacramento State, yeah, they're going to get it up, and if they don't get a shot up in the first 5 seconds of the shot clock, it's almost a failure. So it's going to be an entertaining one for the fans, no doubt.
Still holding on to first place, so by half a game.
That's the whole thing about it. Everything's still in front of that women's team, and I hope they realize that and take advantage of that opportunity, because come home, get right back on the right foot here again, and then who knows, they still have a great chance to host here at home.
How about the man? Tough loss on Thursday night to Montana State, because you had to follow that up against Montana. And if we're going to get one of these, Thursday would have maybe been the better shot. Instead, they lose to Montana State and beat Montana.
I look at it I was really surprised, because North Dakota, by and large, has had a good record against Montana State since joining the Big Sky, and then you're kind of scratching your head. And one thing that they've really struggled in last year and into this year was beating Montana. That was the great unknown, and so that, and if you're gonna compete in the Big Sky Conference, you have to start beating Montana and Weber State, and that was a great opportunity to kind of announce themselves to the league on Saturday afternoon and finding a way to win. And it wasn't always pretty at times, but they figured it out, and I thought by and large their defense was probably way better on Saturday than it was on Thursday, and that was the difference.
I think offensively too, they were settling for jump shots on Thursday. Way too many three-pointers for a team that is successful at attacking the basket, and I think they corrected that a little bit better on Saturday.
Teron Nash was just a phenomenal player in the first half against Montana. He just did some wonderful things at both ends of the floor, and if he can get into a game in, game out consistent level where he offers them kind of that type of performance, they become an entirely different team to defend, because he's maybe undersized at times around the basket, but he's just so much quicker than some of the league's big men, so it makes it for an interesting matchup.
We saw what happened. The teams discovered playing a zone against UND would be effective, but by now that shouldn't be a big, they know that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, and I think, you look at it in recent games against Idaho State, they zoned North Dakota, and North Dakota's had some success there. Montana, actually, when UND made that run in the first half, Teron Nash was working against that zone, so that Montana threw on. So North Dakota has shown that they have the ability to beat a zone. It's just, consistently, and that's going to be a big factor going down the stretch.
The emergence of Cole Steffen's big in that countering the zone with a three-point shot like that.
He can stretch it. There's no doubt about it. He can stretch a defense by stepping out and taking big outside shots.
Well, we'll talk with Coach Jones about that, about this past weekend and their approach to the final 6 games of the regular season coming up next.
The great thing about snowboarding is the adventure. All day long, you're finding different ways of doing different things, and it's never the same. I don't mind snowboarding alone, but if you've got your friends up there on the mountain and you guys can all cruise down together, it's a really, really fun time. Snowboarding has been really fun and really rewarding for me, and I want it to be fun and rewarding for my customers as well. I'm Lindsay McKinstry, and I'm one of the snowboard experts at Shields.
Right now at Burger King, choose any 2 sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any 2 for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
The action is fast. The excitement is high. And the National Collegiate Hockey Conference playoffs are coming. Now's your chance to be part of history by securing your spot at the inaugural NCHC Frozen Face-Off on March 21st and 22nd at Target Center. For more information on purchasing tickets, visit nchchockey.com.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
Right now at Burger King, choose any 2 sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any 2 for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
For 50 years, the Big Sky Conference has been showing the world who we are and how we play. 50 years of authenticity, hard work, community, and 50 years of playing to win. But remembering that our mission is bigger than winning. We're the Big Sky, the heart of Division I, the heart of the American West.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields, Burger King, where taste is king, Grand Forks Cities Area Transit, and the Ground Round.
6 games remaining now in the men's basketball season, and it's a tight Big Sky Conference. North Dakota right now in 3rd place in the Big Sky, and head coach Brian Jones joins us in the coach's corner. Actually, he's in the coach's middle.
I guess.
What he is. Brian, nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Still tired after that long, weary road trip?
No, we're...
Oh, you didn't have the road trip.
We didn't have a road trip.
That's right,
so,
you were home.
We
You've had
finally
a
had
couple
2 in a row
before.
at home, but it was still stressful and tiresome because of the amount of the short turnaround, just getting ready for the Saturday's game.
We were talking a little bit about it, and I think Paul agreed with me that I thought if you were only going to get one on the weekend, it would have been on Thursday night. What the heck happened?
You would have thought. Yeah, it was, this time of the year, I really felt Thursday night, the energy was a little low to start. Had a great week of practice. That's what was confusing about it, because we probably had one of our better weeks of practice and preparation, and we just didn't go out and carry that over consistently. Now, there was times where we played at a high level, but I give our guys credits for bouncing back. Friday short practice and Saturday and an afternoon game. We played pretty well on Saturday with the type of intensity and focus we need to play at with 6 to 7 games left.
The race right now is just so tight, and I think the biggest thing is that you don't want to get into a tiebreaker situation, because I don't even know what physicists are going to have to come in and just factor it in. So the reality of it is with 6 games, you're in control of your own destiny, but you got to go out and find a way to get to kind of a magic number. You guys probably have an idea of what it's going to take to at least get into the tournament and be a decent seed. So I guess there's some pretty big goals in front of you here in the next several games.
Well, there are. Obviously, we want to be able to at least get into the tournament. I think this year what you're going to see is anybody's ball game with the teams being so equal. So with 3 games at home, 3 games on the road, I mean, definitely the table is set. There's definitely the games we can win. So we just got to go out and again focus Thursday night, turn around, short turnaround, and on Saturday and get ready for Saturday. So it's definitely a challenge, but everybody's got the same challenge. That's the beauty of it.
About Sacramento State and Northern Arizona, last year you went on the road, got a split. Led at the half against Sacramento, I think for 2 years in a row now, out at the Hornets' Nest. We just can't seem to find a way to get it to the finish line in the Hornets' Nest. That's a tough place to play against Sacramento State, and they're a team that's playing real well.
They're playing well, and they're playing well at home. They've only been beat once at home. I think it was to Portland State, and you're right. That's going to be my message the next 2 days in practice, 40 minutes of play there, because we've been good for 20, and the second 20 we've had lapses of focus, of confidence, and really just some toughness at times. So we're going to have to go in dialed in, because again, everybody's going to have urgency. This time of the year, usually you're used to some separation, but there's none, so everybody's got to be dialed in and ready to go.
Coming into the year, I think everybody expected 3-4 teams at the top of the conference to be really strong. Are you surprised at how from 1 to 10, no offense to Southern Utah, but a lot of teams there that can beat anybody at any time?
Surprised, probably, yeah, to a little bit of an extent. I think we're still learning about what the league's all about. I think it's been a great teaching tool for our staff and our players that you got to be ready to go regardless of what the preseason polls say, and not knowing who brought in what kind of players to change that. So, I'm, that's what we want as coaches. I think it's what's been great for our league RPI. We want to continue to brand this league and get just better notoriety with our league across the country. And I think this year's been a good start with that. But it's something that's been great for us as coaches to continue to learn that it's not only just Montana and Weber you got to beat. There's the other teams you got to come and play and continue to add to your roster, and continue to add to your program yearly.
3 at home, 3 on the road, correct?
That's right.
Now, you talked about doing the numbers. 4 out of the 6?
I would say 4 out of the 6 would be a safe bet. Obviously, we got 3 of those at home, but you don't know. You don't know. I mean, that's the funny thing is we're 1 game out of second, but we're 1 game out of potentially 10th. So it's just, it's crazy. And it's I haven't seen a league race like this ever. I've been around college basketball a fairly long time, and it's the parity in college basketball is probably at the ultimate this year.
Thanks, Coach. Travel safe.
All righty. Thank you.
Coach Brian Jones, the UND men's basketball team. Still to come, the radio voice of the men's basketball team, our own Paul Ralston, learns more about the ball screen. Next on UND Insider Weekly.
Right now at Burger King, choose any 2 sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any 2 for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
Life is busy, but many professionals are finding ways to advance their career with a Master's in Business Administration at the University of North Dakota. Students attend UND online and on campus. The program is nationally recognized and emphasizes one-on-one with faculty. Find the title you deserve. Enroll today.
Right now at Burger King, choose any 2 sandwiches for just $5. Whether you're craving a Whopper sandwich and an original chicken sandwich, an original chicken sandwich and a premium Alaskan fish sandwich, or a Whopper and another Whopper. Come in today and get any 2 for just $5. Only at Burger King, where taste is king.
Winter fashion is a wonderland, and you'll find all the season's best looks waiting for you at Shields. So let it snow.
Thursday and Saturday, women's basketball returns to the Betty for their final 2 home games of the season. Thursday action tips off against Northern Arizona at 7. Then they face off against Sacramento State on Senior Day at 2 p.m. Get your tickets at the Ralph Engelstad Arena box office or online at UNDsports.com. And also, make sure you catch the head coach of the women's basketball team, Travis Brewster, on this week's UND Insider Weekly Extra. He'll sit down with Mitch Wigness to discuss those upcoming games and closing out the season. Watch it exclusively online on YouTube and UNDsports.com. Well, the last time Paul joined members of the men's basketball team to learn how to execute the ball screen. This time, we'll flip it around. Paul learns how to defend against the ball screen in this week's brand new Pro Tips.
Last time we talked a little bit about ball screens on the perimeter and what the offense was doing utilizing those ball screens. But one of the things that we're seeing, since nearly every team utilizes perimeter ball screens, you got to defend those ball screens. So I brought along my helpers once again, Chad Calcaterra, North Dakota assistant Dean Oliver, and Quentin Hooker. Coach Oliver, okay, we talked a little bit about what we do when we have the ball in our hands and how to utilize ball screens, but now comes the real challenge of defending the ball screen. So we've got Hugh and we've got Chad helping us out a little bit. So we talk about, okay, I'll have the ball in my hands, and I know how easy it would be for you to take it away from me, so let's, for the purpose, let's pretend that I'm really good today.
Well, there's a lot of different ways to guard the ball screen. One of the most prevalent ways is Q is going to force his man into the screen, all right? And I'm on Q's team helping him out, and I'm a big, and I'm not a very quick big, so I'm going to hang out back here and kind of shade the ball handler. So as he screens, Q's job is to make sure that Paul does not reject the screen. He's got to force him to use the screen and get over as quick as possible. Now, as he gets over, great job. All right, come back, Q. The technique of getting over the screen is, one, he's got to have a wide base in his stance, and then he's got to whip his leg and elbow through the screen, just like he did. So he whips his leg and elbow through the screen and gets over. Now my job is to slow him down and just be here for help and support. I'm in a stance, help and support until he gets back. Q has to tell me he's back. Once I hear that, I'm out, going back to my own man, okay? So that's one way to guard it. Now, let's say Paul is a very quick, explosive guard, and we're worried about him.
It's a stretch.
We're worried about him getting to the basket against a slow defender like myself, which is the truth. So we're going to guard it a different way this time. So Q's going to do the same thing. He's going to try to get over the screen. So as he's coming, I have to get up here ready and now force him out this way, away from the basket. I'm going to have two hard slides. As I slide, Q's going to be able to get back, and now I'm out. So I'm going to try to slow down that ball handler.
So your job as a big is to slow that down until he could recover, to get him bent off the floor back towards the midcourt stripe then.
Exactly.
Okay. One other quick question, and this goes back to personnel and knowing personnel and handling these situations. If you were to go under a screen, defensively, you better not be going under against a shooter, because that's all the space they need. Is that correct?
That is very correct.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, that's one of the main problems with guards is it takes a lot of energy to go over a screen, because you have to fight and whip that leg through, and you're battling someone who's bigger than you. So that's one of the main problems, is you give into fatigue and you just try to slide under.
Well, guys, I tell you what, that's a great run through of what's happening on the floor. Hopefully, if you're watching at home, it just goes to show you how much energy, effort, and details are involved when guarding ball screens. Something you see so common today in today's professional and college games. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Pro Tips.
Coming up, with the Olympics in full swing, we'll check in on UND athletes in Sochi.
UND Insider Weekly is sponsored by Shields, Burger King, where taste is king, Grand Forks Cities Area Transit, and the Ground Round.
For 50 years, the Big Sky Conference has been showing the world who we are and how we play. 50 years of authenticity, hard work, community, and 50 years of playing to win.
At the tape. The FCS National.
But remembering that our mission is bigger than winning. We're the Big Sky, the heart of Division I, the heart of the American West.
Welcome back. The big UND headlines from this past week in the Olympics, and we're going to start with one that caused the most buzz, gentlemen, and that, of course, was the U.S. men's victory over Russia, #1, and how it was fashioned by T.J. Oshie, the former UND player from Warroad, Minnesota. Brad, first, your thoughts on that one. Ice water in that guy's veins, but my feeling is that that's the reason he's on that team.
I think that's one of them. You know, I think that they can do a lot of things with him. He's played really well 5-on-5 too, you know, for them, and that's certainly something they talked about, that if they do go into shootout, which can happen in IIHF play, that Oshie's the guy, and there's been quite a response. I mean, he's got the president tweeting at him. He's got more Twitter followers than Paul does now. It's been crazy.
He could have won an election for president, I think, Saturday morning.
He probably could have
won then. That was crazy, no doubt about it. How about the women this morning? They defeated Sweden 6-1. I don't think there was any question about it that they were going to be in the gold medal game. They played up to standard, shall we say?
Yeah, I think it was 2006 when Sweden upset them with Peter Elander at the helm of that team, and they weren't going to let that happen again. They outshot Sweden 29-1 in the first period. Monique scored her third of the tournament. Jocelyn assisted on it. She's had the primary assist on all three of them, so apparently those two know how to play together.
Speaking of primary assists, with Michelle Karvinen over there, along with Susan Tapani of Finland, whenever Michelle scores, Susan's in on it as well. Huh?
Yeah, they're playing on the same line, and Karvinen right now is 1 point away from being the leading scorer in the Olympics, so a very impressive tournament for her.
They certainly would like to have her back.
Yeah, they could use her, they could use Tapani, and they could use Tanya Eisenschmied.
This weekend, anything else that sticks out for you, Paul?
I don't understand who thought it was a good idea to go from luge, where you're going down, looking down the chute, to thinking it would be a great idea to go down head first and call it skeleton. I don't understand that, but apparently it makes the winter games fun.
You weren't doing that at Lincoln Park this weekend, bombing the hill? No?
All right, guys, thanks. Enjoy the Olympics and everything else going on. And make sure you catch the brand new episode of UND Insider Weekly next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on UNDsports.com and Friday at 5:30 on Midco Sports Network.